Have you ever felt like there's something about you that can't be explained? As if, from the very beginning, you carried an essence that set you apart, a presence, an energy that made you see the world differently. Maybe your family noticed it before you even understood it yourself. The way you reacted to things, the questions you asked, the emotions you felt so deeply. There were always signs that you weren't just like everyone else. And now, piece by piece, everything is starting to make sense. Throughout history, there have been stories of people born with a higher purpose. Individuals who come into this world to guide, heal, and transform everything around them. At first, they feel lost, different, misunderstood, but one day something changes. They start to awaken. And if you're here right now watching this, it's not a coincidence. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your family always knew you were different, the signs that have been present since birth, and the truth about your real purpose. So stay with me until the end, because you may be one of the chosen ones. From the moment you entered this world, the clues were already there. Some were subtle, barely noticeable. Others were so obvious that they left your family questioning what made you so different. Maybe you don't remember everything, but if you think back, the signs have always been there. Many people who carry a special energy arrive in this world in extraordinary ways. Some were born prematurely, others under rare circumstances that doctors couldn't fully explain. There are stories of babies who survived against all odds, as if they were destined to be here no matter what. Or maybe your birth aligned with a significant moment, on the same day as an ancestor during a powerful celestial event, or in a situation filled with mystery. Whatever the case, from the very start, the universe was already setting you on your path. Another sign that someone has a unique mission in life is the presence of special birthmarks. In many spiritual traditions, these marks are believed to carry messages, connections to past lives, symbols of a higher calling. Some people are born with patterns on their skin that resemble shapes, numbers, or even marks identical to those of relatives who have passed away. Do you have a mark like this? If so, it might not be random. It could be a reminder of who you truly are. From a young age, your energy stood out. While most babies simply existed in their own little world, you observed everything. Maybe your gaze was intense, as if you were seeing something beyond what others could. Here are some signs that may sound familiar. As a baby, you cried intensely for no clear reason, as if sensing something invisible. You only calmed down around certain people, as if you recognized their energy. You avoided specific places or objects without knowing why. Sometimes, parents notice these things but don't know how to explain them. Maybe your family sensed something about you, but over time, they tried to ignore it or dismiss it as just imagination. But deep down, you always knew you were different. So ask yourself, was your birth unusual? Do you have a special mark? Did people around you ever say you weren't like the other kids? If so, keep watching. The signs didn't stop in childhood. They only grew stronger. As you grew, the signs became even more obvious. Maybe at the time, you didn't fully understand what was happening. But now, looking back, everything starts to fall into place. If you recognize at least 3 of these signs, there's a strong chance that you are one of the chosen ones. 1. Extraordinary sensitivity. Since childhood, you felt emotions more deeply than most people. You could sense when someone was sad, even if they didn't say a word. It could be a friend, a family member, or even a complete stranger. Their pain felt like your own. Beyond that, certain places carried an unexplainable energy for you. Have you ever entered a room and instantly felt uncomfortable, as if something was off? Or maybe there were locations where you always felt at peace, as if you belonged there. And one of the most telling signs, nature has always had a strange pull on you. Being near trees, rivers, or animals gave you a sense of calm that nothing else could. It wasn't just admiration, it felt like a silent conversation, as if something unseen was speaking to you. 2. Wisdom beyond your years. When you were young, did adults ever tell you that you were different from other kids, that you spoke in a way that was far beyond your age? Maybe you asked questions that no one knew how to answer or gave advice that left people speechless. It was as if, even as a child, you carried the knowledge of something much greater, something ancient, something powerful. Perhaps you've always had this strange feeling that you've lived before, that the things you know, the instincts you have, didn't just come from this lifetime. 3. Mystical experiences. Many people who are born with a higher purpose experience things that others would call impossible. Have you ever had a dream that later came true? Have you ever felt like you were being watched when no one was around? Have you ever experienced déjà vu so strong that it felt like you had lived that exact moment before? Some children even recall past lives or claim to see beings of light. While others dismiss these experiences as imagination, those who have lived them know the truth. These are not coincidences. They are signs. 4. A unique connection to the world around you. Even as a child, you might have felt different from those around you. Not in a bad way, but in a way that made you crave moments of solitude. Not because you didn't like people, but because being alone helped you process everything you felt. Animals also seemed drawn to you. Dogs, cats, birds, they approached you differently, as if sensing something special in your energy. And one of the most incredible signs? A natural gift for healing. Maybe, without even thinking about it, you placed your hands on someone who was in pain and they felt better almost instantly. As if something inside you had the ability to transfer energy, to bring comfort without explanation. So what does this all mean? If these signs resonate with you, it's not by chance. Every moment of your life has been a piece of a much bigger puzzle, one that is finally coming together. And here's something even more powerful. Your family noticed it too. Even if they never spoke about it, even if they tried to push it aside, deep down, they always knew you were different. But the real question is, did they truly understand what it meant? You weren't the only one who noticed that you were different. Your family saw it too. From a young age, they observed things about you that didn't quite fit the norm. But how they reacted to these signs varied. How did your family handle your uniqueness? Some families, out of fear or lack of understanding, try to ignore the signs. Whenever you spoke about something strange, feeling other people's energy, having a dream that came true, or sensing an invisible presence, you may have been met with dismissive words like, "It's just your imagination. You think too much. Stop talking about things like that. It's scary." They didn't say this to hurt you. Most likely, they just didn't know how to handle something they couldn't explain. So instead of embracing your uniqueness, they tried to make it fit into what they considered normal. Over time, this may have made you doubt yourself. You might have started questioning your own experiences, wondering if you were just imagining things. But deep down, you always knew the truth. The silent protectors. While some families dismiss the signs, others react in a different way. Instead of denying your uniqueness, they quietly protect it. Maybe your grandparents or parents knew more than they ever admitted, but they chose not to talk about it openly. In certain spiritual traditions, it's believed that special gifts should only be revealed at the right time. Some families carry ancient knowledge passed down through generations, but they don't always share it until they feel you're ready. Have you ever felt like your family was hiding something about you? Maybe you overheard a strange comment once, something like, "You remind me of your grandmother. She was the same way." Since you were little, we knew you were different, but we didn't want to scare you. Some people only discover later in life that they come from a lineage of spiritually gifted individuals, that a distant relative had similar abilities but never spoke about them. That, all along, They were part of something bigger than they realized. Whether your family acknowledged it or not, one thing is clear. They always knew you weren't like the others. But the real mystery isn't just that you were different. It's why you were born into that family in the first place. Why were you born into this family? Have you ever wondered why this family? Why these parents, these siblings, this particular lineage? Was it all just random? Or was there a greater purpose behind it? The truth is, nothing in this universe happens by accident. It is believed that every soul chooses its family before birth. Even if your upbringing was difficult, even if you felt like an outsider in your own home, there was a deeper reason for your presence there. Healing ancestral patterns. In many spiritual traditions, some people are born into families not just to be part of them, but to heal them, to break negative cycles that have repeated for generations. If your family has a history of suffering, you may be the one meant to transform that. If your ancestors carried deep emotional wounds, you may be the key to healing them. If your family has always been surrounded by secrets and mysteries, you may be the first to finally see the truth. Your sensitivity is not a mistake. Your uniqueness is not a coincidence. You have a role to play in this journey. Preparing for your greater mission. Everything you've experienced so far has been preparation. Your gift has always been there, waiting for the moment you would be ready to embrace it. And to step into your true power, the first step is to understand and heal your relationship with your family. Because whether they understood you or not, one thing is certain: they always knew. And now, it's your turn to recognize it too. Now that you understand your family always knew you were different, you've reached the most important moment of your journey: acceptance and healing. Many people with spiritual gifts grow up feeling misunderstood. Some face rejection. Others are taught to suppress who they really are. But the truth is, your essence can never be erased. Understanding why your family reacted the way they did. If your parents, grandparents, or siblings didn't understand your uniqueness, it wasn't their fault. Generations before you were raised to believe only in what they could see, in what could be logically explained. They didn't have the same opportunities you have now, to awaken, to question, to seek the truth. But that doesn't mean they didn't love you. In fact, many times their attempts to make you fit in were just their way of trying to protect you from a world that might not accept you. The power of forgiveness and acceptance. The first step in stepping into your true power is forgiveness. You don't have to agree with everything your family did or said, but you can choose to let go of any resentment. Because when you forgive, you free yourself. You release the invisible chains of the past that have been holding your energy back. And most importantly, you open the door to fully accepting who you are, recognizing your true purpose. You've spent your life searching for answers. Now, you finally have them. You have gifts, you have a mission, and you are part of something much bigger than you ever imagined. Take a deep breath right now and say to yourself, I accept my mission, because this is just the beginning of your journey, the next step in your awakening. If you've made it this far, one thing is clear: you are not ordinary. The signs have been there since birth. Your family sensed it, even if they never spoke about it. And now, you finally understand that your journey has always had a greater purpose. But the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? The answer is simple. Embrace who you truly are. Don't hide your gifts. Don't suppress your sensitivity. The world needs people like you. People who feel, who heal, who transform. And most importantly, you are not alone. Now tell me, which of these signs resonated with you the most? I'll be reading every comment. And if you're ready to continue this journey of self-discovery, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because there's so much more ahead. I'll see you in the next video. The journey of the chosen ones continues.